Welcome to the ASIS CPP Mastery Series. In this session, we will work through 10 moderate-level scenario questions from Domain 1, Security Principles and Practices. Rather than simply identifying the correct answer, our focus will be on understanding the CPP thought process. By the end of this lesson, you'll start recognizing the patterns that CPP examiners expect security professionals to follow when making decisions. Before we begin, remember the CPP Golden Rule. Most security decisions follow a continuous cycle. Assess, analyze, decide, implement, and monitor. Whenever you feel stuck in a scenario question, ask yourself where you are in this loop. In many cases, the correct answer is not immediate action, but returning to assessment and analysis before acting. In this scenario, a manufacturing facility has identified 25 security vulnerabilities but has resources to address only 5. The key question is, what drives security decisions? Cost, popularity, visibility, or risk? The CPP approach is clear. Security resources should be allocated based on risk assessment. Remember the formula: risk equals threat multiplied by vulnerability and consequence. Therefore, the correct answer is to prioritize vulnerabilities based on risk assessment. A CEO receives credible threats before attending an international conference. Many candidates are tempted to immediately increase protection or cancel the event. However, CPP professionals do not start with action. They start with assessment. Before implementing controls, we must understand the nature, credibility, and severity of the threat. That's why conducting a threat assessment is the correct answer. Employees are lending access cards to coworkers, creating accountability problems. The decision pivot here is determining whether the issue is technological or behavioral. Additional cameras and patrols may detect violations, but they won't solve the underlying problem. The root cause is weak policy compliance. Therefore, the correct pathway is stronger access control policy and enforcement. A trusted employee begins displaying concerning indicators, including financial stress and attempts to access unrelated information. The challenge is balancing security with due process. CPP professionals avoid assumptions and emotional reactions. Instead, they follow established procedures, gather facts, and investigate objectively. The correct answer is to monitor and investigate through approved processes. A contract guard provider is meeting staffing requirements, yet complaints about professionalism continue. Before replacing personnel or increasing staffing, a CPP professional reviews the contract and service standards. Security performance must be measured against agreed expectations. Therefore, the correct answer is to review contract performance standards first. A flood warning threatens a critical distribution facility. The question is whether to wait for confirmation or begin preparations immediately. Business continuity planning is designed to ensure readiness before a disruption occurs. Therefore, the correct action is to activate continuity procedures early, rather than waiting for the situation to worsen. An organization wants to replace perimeter fencing with advanced surveillance technology. The decision pivot is simple. What should drive security investments? CPP professionals focus on security requirements and risk reduction, not technology trends or vendor claims. Any solution must first demonstrate that it effectively reduces identified risks. Despite strong technical controls, phishing incidents continue to increase. This scenario reminds us that security is not only about technology. Human behavior remains one of the most important security factors. When people become the vulnerability, awareness and training often provide the greatest improvement. Therefore, enhanced security awareness training is the correct answer. A theft has occurred inside a warehouse. The instinct may be to begin interviews immediately. However, every professional investigation begins with preserving evidence. Once evidence is lost or contaminated, the integrity of the investigation can be compromised. Therefore, securing the scene and preserving evidence is the correct first step. Senior leadership asks whether the security program is effective. Staffing levels and budgets do not necessarily demonstrate effectiveness. CPP professionals communicate value through measurable outcomes linked to organizational objectives and risk reduction. The correct answer is to present meaningful performance metrics that show how security contributes to business success. Before we conclude, remember this simple 5-step approach for CPP scenario questions. First, identify the core security principle involved. Second, eliminate emotional, reactive, or purely operational responses. Third, look for assessment-based decision-making. In many CPP questions, the correct answer starts with assessing before implementing. Fourth, choose the option that is most closely aligned with risk management and organizational objectives. And finally, think like a security manager, not a technician. CPP candidates are expected to make strategic decisions that support the business while managing risk effectively. If you can consistently apply these 5 steps, you'll find that even challenging scenario-based questions become much easier to analyze and answer. Thank you for joining me in this session of the ASIS CPP Mastery Series. I hope these 10 moderate scenario questions have strengthened both your understanding and your confidence for the CPP examination. If you found this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue creating high-quality certification and professional development content. In the next video, we'll tackle more advanced CPP scenarios and explore the decision-making frameworks used by experienced security leaders. Until then, keep learning, keep practicing, and remember, successful CPP candidates don't just memorize answers, they understand the principles behind them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.